You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Well, everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Yes, we are all YouTube currently and all the time, but don't worry, there are backup plans to backup plans. Patreon, we let them go. We're not going to go back to Patreon. So don't worry, behind the scenes, Jolene and I are working on things, and she's really putting the metal to the grindstone, if you will, to get that fixed. And we will come back with our mega uncensored content that we used to carry on Patreon. We're going to come back even stronger, even sharper, even smarter, and be able to continue to provide uncensored content in our guerrilla funded, if you will, alternative social media. Oh, it's good and juicy. But for now, folks, we're going to talk about some very serious stuff. HTF, right? It has hit the fan. Now, food crisis. It is true. Food crisis is real, folks. Just because you're not starving to death doesn't mean there isn't a global food crisis. So let's discuss this, right? It has everything to do with Ukraine, by the way. You know, as we satirically discussed the other day, and it's all satire, boy, you can't take a thing I say or you think is real, can you? Even though it's all coming true. I guess that's just how the game is played, right? You can be right about your thoughts, your beliefs, but you're just a terrible person for doing so. Unbelievable, folks. That's the world of lies we live in. So food crisis, are we going to get solutions or are we going to get SHTF? Well, as reported last week, folks, or a couple of days ago, Turkey and Russia are working together. They were able to come to a solution. Now, Turkey is a NATO member. Isn't it interesting that Turkey doesn't need NATO in order to work with Russia for the betterment of Ukraine, Russia, Turkey, and the world? How freaking embarrassed should Biden be, or Boris Johnson, or Emmanuel Macron, or Scholz in Germany, that they couldn't work this deal out? Turkey works a deal with Russia, right? Negotiated a deal so that Ukrainian grain can be released out of Ukraine, even with a Turkish military escort, in order to alleviate the food crisis. It won't solve the food crisis, but this deal could relieve a lot of the pressure, a lot of the fear, a lot of the worry, a lot of the angst. Maybe there would be fewer food riots. Oh yeah, folks, food riots, food violence, and food thievery are now a massive third world issue. But your stomach feels good, right? You're not being hurt by this. Not yet. Maybe our wallets are a little thinner from it, but hey. So Turkey figures this out. And guess what? Ukraine is objecting, while Russia has no problem allowing this world hunger relief effort to go forward. So Ukraine has the problem. Folks, details. The devil is always in the details. So who is the devil here? Putin or Zelensky? Right? Now, so far, Ukraine, its government, which is Zelensky, hasn't had a representative in the Russia-Turkey talks about getting the grain out. Kiev has not only blamed Russia, folks, for the military blockade of its ports for causing the global crisis, but it is said that Russia is stealing grain. Now, furthermore, the Associated Press has reported that Ukraine has expressed concerns that if it removes mines from the Black Sea ports, Russia would be more able to attack its southern coast. What a ridiculous crock of nonsense. Okay, Ukraine's objection to solving the world crisis, or at least alleviating it, is that Russia would be able to attack its southern coast more able. If you understand naval warfare, folks, no longer does the boat have to have an anchor on the beach. That's not how it works. They can sit offshore 10 miles, 20 miles, 50 miles, and send ordnance in. Launch ordnance, that is explosive, right? You could say explosive delivery systems. Short range, long range, cruise missiles. I'm sure their hypersonic missiles could make it from 10 miles out. So these mines are doing nothing except stopping non-military, commercial food delivery vessels from doing their job. If Russia wants to attack the southern coast of Ukraine, they can do it with an artillery barrage. They can do it with missile barrage. They can do it, folks, with airstrikes. Right? They can use fighter jets to deliver ordnance. They can use bombers to deliver ordnance. They can send their hypersonic and other missiles and cruise missiles in from Russia, all the way from Russia or Crimea, and hit any target they wish. So why isn't Russia doing that? Russia doesn't need its navy to annihilate Ukraine, shall we say, assets. It appears Russia doesn't have that desire at all. Russia is trying to get the grain out. They're trying to remove the mines. And the problem with removing mines, folks, is they tend to blow shit up, right? Unbelievable what is going on in Ukraine. It's unbelievable what the mainstream media is not telling you it's doing. It is absolutely unfathomable, unconscionable that they're continuing to allow this sort of mentality that Voldemort Zelensky has in believing that those mines are protecting Ukraine when they're doing no such thing. They don't need to land on the beach to put troops in there. They could fly them in with helicopters. They could parachute in, paratroopers. The Russians are no stranger to paratroopers. They've got them too. They could come across other land bridges, bridges from Crimea, from Russia through Donbass, right? No problem, right? They could come in and just sweep south and take Odessa if they really, really want to. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but I'm saying that's how things work. You have many options: land, sea, and air. So this claim that Kiev, right, that Voldemort is safer because they put landmines in is, I think, a farcical exaggeration. And we're all being asked to choke it down. We're all being asked to believe it. Right? I think Russia has done a great job, folks, in positioning themselves to not look like the bad guys to people who have an eye to see and an ear to hear. Bloomberg came out with a tweet and said, Ukraine's agricultural minister warns of catastrophic global grain price increases if export corridor isn't opened up. Well, what did that just say? Well, yeah, the Ukraine agricultural minister wants the seaports opened and a safe passage corridor opened up to avoid catastrophic, that means SHTF, folks, catastrophic grain price and availability increases. Right? Who is holding this up? It's not Russia, right? The Ukraine minister says, well, we need to open it up. And then they blame Russia for it not opening up. No, the problem is Zelensky won't pull his mines out. Right? And if Zelensky wants it done, who is refusing to do the work? Right? Fascinating, folks. Right? Fascinating that Russia and Turkey have an agreement to demine a grain corridor for military escorts of Ukrainian grain. That's wheat and corn. So they can come out of the black seaport of Odessa. Right? We're all being lied to. by the mainstream media, by our own politicians. Yeah, Russia's the bad guys. I'm fine with that. But everything comes with a price. And these Western Economic Forum elitists in business have created this situation. They have shut our minds around the world. They have shut oil production around the world. They have shut energy generation around the world. And then they wonder when they need, food, raw materials, and energy, why is it only Russia seems to be the one available to supply all these things to Europe? And then they start a pissing match with Russia so that Russia says, oh, okay, well, how about this? There's less grain, there's less energy. Yeah, whoops. There's not much left. That's how Russia is playing this, folks. They're letting the West do it to itself. And it's not you and me, the West. It's not the good European people. Because they want freedom and liberty. They want free speech. They want rights. They want a standard of living that's decent. They want their culture respected. It's not the people of the United States that are the problem. It's these special interest, big-time, non-government organizational power structures, banks and corporations, and extremely wealthy families that are driving this. Oligarchs. They're the ones pushing for this. We need to push back with facts. Our voices be very loud, folks. Write your congressman and tell them you see what's going on in Ukraine, and the problem is Zelensky. Right? The problem is demanding Russia surrender. It's, shall we say, security. But do you go to your, this is just, it's a wonderful example. Do you go to your neighbor and say, hey, neighbor, I demand that you allow me to put my security cameras up on your property, and that you take all the locks off your doors, and anything of value, you make sure you put it right in the middle of your living room. That's what we demand. Don't worry, we won't touch any of your stuff. We're not really going to watch you with the security cameras, and no one's going to break into your house. The neighbor would be like, are you out of your mind? If I have anything of value, I won't tell you about it. I won't put it where it's available. I won't take away my locks. And no, I won't allow you to surveil me. That's precisely what NATO wanted to do to Russia. In a manner of speaking, of course. An analogy. Hey, are you prepared? Chance favors the prepared mind. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Go to thepreparedmind.club. Go there and get what you need. Shop it. Look around. Check prices. Check availability. See where the world is going and take the appropriate action. Because only you can help you. I can't. All I have is information and a willingness to share it with you and help you. Right? So give me a thumbs up. Help us. Share the internet address over here so that other people can wake up. It's critical, folks. Absolutely critical. Semper Fi. God bless America.